In today's video, I'm going to be going over one of the best, most underrated mage weapons in the game that does very good damage and is better than almost every other mage weapon in the game. If you guys do enjoy today's video, please consider subscribing. I'm going to be doing some giveaways soon for subscribers only every single week for 15 million coins. In addition to that, there's going to be giveaways where the first person to comment something gets 1 mil in most of my future videos. So subscribe, it's because you don't want to miss out on winning a lot of money. And without further ado, let's get into the video. Mage requires use of weapons that have a right-click ability that cost mana and deal damage, because that's what the scale with the whole build, for the most part, is intelligence. And unlike Berserker and Tank and Healer, where there's a bunch of different weapons you can use any weapon as long as it does good damage and has good healing, and good just stats. First, let's go over the cost of the 3 base weapons I'm going to be talking about: Bonzo Staff, Spirit Scepter, and Aspect of the Dragons. Now, which one's the best of these? You'll have to find out, but spoiler, it's Aspect of the Dragons by a long shot. First, let's look at cost. The cost of a clean Spirit Scepter right now is about 10 to 10.3 million coins for a clean Spirit Scepter, making it the 3rd most expensive mage weapon in the game, behind the Hyperion and Midas Staff. Next, onto Bonzo Staff. Bonzo Staff is the supposedly cheapest mage weapon in the game. Bonzo Staff is dropped from the first floor in dungeons and costs 3 million coins base or clean. And now, last but not least, Aspect of the D. Aspect of the Dragons costs 800,000 coins base, and for ult-wise, kind of hard to find, but it costs you 1.4 million coins for an ult-wise 5-star heroic Aspect of the Dragons. Now let's go over the mana cost of each weapon. So, cost of the weapon, Aspect of the Dragons is 1/5 the cost of Bonzo Staff and 1/13 the cost of a Spirit Scepter. Now let's go for mana cost. For Spirit Scepter, keep in mind, this is without Ultimate Wise affecting anything. It costs you 150 mana to use 1 right click. Bonzo Staff, it's 70 mana to use 1 right click. And Aspect of the Dragons, it is 60 mana to use 1 right click. So Aspect of the Dragons is the cheapest in money and mana ability, or how much you can spam. Now on to damage. I'm going to be testing in dungeons and outside of dungeons. First for the outside of dungeons, against these zombies. Poor zombies, they always get tested on. Starting off with the Bonzo Staff, and also something in case I haven't said this, the base armor I'm going to be using for every single comparison is this very wise dragon armor, coupled with a level 93 sheep. First, let's start off with Spirit Scepter. Spirit Scepter will do about, let me try to get one solo, 39,000 damage every single hit, and it's almost 100% consistent. About 39,000 damage every single time you right-click or use its right-click ability. Now onto Bonzo Staff. Bonzo Staff, unsurprisingly, does less damage at 18,000 damage or 25,000 damage every single time you hit a mob. So at 18 to 20,000 damage per hit, which gets absolutely clowned on by the 40,000 of the Spirit Scepter. Last and the best, Aspect of the Dragons. Every single right-click ability does 42,000 damage, which is 2,000 more damage than the Spirit Scepter, so they can be kind of comparable, but a lot more damage than the Bonzo Staff. So far, Aspect of the Dragons is the cheapest in cost, cheapest in mana cost, and deals more damage than these other 2 weapons combined. Now, let's get into a dungeon. Alright, so I just got into a dungeon, floor 4, and I'm going to be carrying these guys and showing off the damage. I'm going to try to find a uncleared room, or untouched. Alright, so I'm in the room. First off, let's test damage. So this is going to be a little bit difficult to test, but Aspect of the Dragons does 300,000 damage per hit. Spirit Scepter does 330,000 damage per hit, and Bonzo Staff does 220,000 damage per hit. So Spirit Scepter does do slightly more damage. The stats inside of dungeons, Aspect of the Dragons got 345 intelligence, Bonzo's got 1.2k, and the Spirit Scepter's got 1.3, but it should be more like 1.5 or 1.6. So now for the clearing potential. AoE wise, Aspect of the Dragons is an absolutely go-to weapon. I can one-shot everything in this floor with absolute ease. Nothing is more than 100,000 health, and I'm doing 300 damage every single time. Now, Spirit Scepter, once again, is pretty good. However, the mana cost is almost 3 times as much, and it does very similar damage. Now, against a actual, boss mob. Aspect of the Dragons, if you use ability, it said this creature is immune to this type of damage. That is bullcrap. That means the knockback is immune, not the actual damage itself. So, I can very easily kill it just like that, and I use less than 600 mana. So this is Angry Archaeologist. I'm gonna try to get this man in the corner. If it doesn't work though, I kill him just like that, and I still have 2,000 mana left to spare. Now, you might not have as good armor, but you might have better armor. But point is, this weapon is a beast. So, the one downside though is running while holding it out is slower. However, if you switch to 1.12 or higher, it fixes this. Or something you can do is just spam Rogue Sword for a little bit so you get an absolute insane amount of speed. And then you can just run and, well, still have pretty good clearing time while running and doing this. You can also use Aspect at the end to get a little bit farther, a little bit faster. Overall though, insanely good weapon. So now I'm going to go and try to clear blood. Alright, so now I'm at blood, so I'm going to do some testing against the first mob that comes in. Poor guy. And then I'm going to clear at the very end with Aspect of the Dragons to show just how fast you can clear these rooms. Like, it's kind of crazy. Around 3,000 damage to normal mobs, while Spirit Scepter does around... I'm doing about 3,000 damage every single time I hit a mob. So, 3,000 damage versus 5,000 damage every single time I hit. It's a pretty big difference. Now this guy would just let me freaking clear this room by myself. Of course, this guy's immediately clearing, but still, you can see how easily we just breeze past that. I'm hoping for like 1 or 2 more mobs that I get untouched, but still you can see just how quickly we breeze past them and how quickly we're going to breeze past the mobs in the 4th floor of the boss room. Now, I do have teammates here, but I'm pretty sure I can solo every single one of these by myself just using Aspect of the Dragons, so that's what I'm going to try to do. As the water drops, I'm going to instantaneously do that. 1 dead. It's kind of hard to because of the other one, but as we can see, we got down every single mob, basically speaking, and I was doing it solo. Now, this again is floor 4, but you can do similar things in floor 5 or floor 6. However, the difficult thing with that is it's just a pain to do. Just like that is already dead. And I am starting to run out of mana, however, I'm regenerating it super fast. For this phase, I'm just going to look up and just spam right click and it'll be dead in no time. Just like that. He was dead. For some reason, it wasn't, if I was looking at something, it didn't work, but I can spam this a lot and clear rooms incredibly quickly. So, the moral of the story, Aspect of the Dragons absolutely shits on Spirit Scepter and Bonzo Staff. Buy Aspect of the Dragons, upgrade from that to whatever weapon you want to, but that is the best weapon that you can get in just period for mage weapons, except for Midas Staff or, you know, Hype, but those are super expensive, and the majority of the population can't actually do that. Either way, without further ado, I'll see you guys next one. I really hope you found this guide useful, and peace.